My daughter, the pumpkins and tomatoes we planted in the backyard have started to bear fruit and grow. Every morning, I happily looked at the green tomatoes, thinking that soon they would ripen to red, and we could share them with friends who meditate with us. From the tomatoes' perspective, they might have felt scared seeing me eagerly waiting for them to turn red. One morning, as I was enjoying a cup of coffee and looking at the backyard through the window, I noticed several tomatoes lying on the ground, injured and groaning. I was shocked and rushed outside, only to see a small rabbit scurrying away from the garden. As I inspected the garden, I found that many of the vegetables I had planted were damaged and struggling. The culprit causing trouble in my small, poorly maintained garden was undoubtedly the little rabbit. It had apparently made its home somewhere in the backyard and had been visiting the garden every morning, tasting everything. The rabbit seemed to be sampling the unripe tomatoes and pumpkins, thinking, not tasty yet, and kept trying multiple times. I wondered if the rabbit was too young to distinguish colors, or if it had a problem with its sense of smell. Even if it had tasted just one, it should have known it needed to wait. In frustration, I cursed the rabbit in my mind, calling it foolish. If the tomatoes were ripe, I could understand sharing them with the rabbit living within the same fence. But what made me angry was that the rabbit was cutting off all the unripe fruits. Whenever I tried to catch the rabbit to give it some education, it would dash away like a bullet, leaving me unable to even scold it. Living together can be tough, I grumbled to myself every morning. I had no choice but to bring out stakes to support the plants, protecting them from the rabbit as much as possible. I considered cutting off all the fruits within the rabbit's reach, but I didn't want to become a narrow-minded person who couldn't share food out of a momentary emotion. Instead, I pruned the withered leaves so that all the fruits could receive ample sunlight. From the perspective of the garden plants, both the rabbit nibbling on them and the people planting and caring for them are all predators. It made me reflect once more on the nature of the physical world, where life sustains itself by exchanging life. Eating means consuming another life. It is the nature of the material world. That might be why in old Korean culture, wasting food was considered a sin. My teacher also once gathered all the sweet potatoes I had buried because I didn't want to eat them, saying that failing to appreciate and be grateful for food would bring misfortune. To sustain my physical body, countless lives are lost every day. This morning reminded me once again to be grateful for all the food provided. The annoying little rabbit was my teacher, and the tomatoes were my lesson in gratitude.